Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to everybody online. I'm Tudor Thomas, and I'm Chair of Licensing and Regulatory Committee. So obviously welcome you to the meeting and welcome to the people online. We'll go immediately to the agenda and we'll go to item number 1, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence, please, Mr Williams?
Just one apology, Chair, from Councillor Howarth.
Okay, thank you very much. 2 declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No, we'll take them, as and when. 3rd, to confirm and sign the minutes of the previous meeting. They're fairly brief minutes. Are people happy that those are a true record? Yeah, Councillor Easton, you propose. Councillor Chris Edwards, you second. That's great. Thanks very much. Thank you. Okay. And now Councillor McKenna has just joined us. Thanks. We go now then to agenda item number 4, the statement of gambling policy and proposals for casinos. So I'll hand over now to our licensing officer, Linda O'Gorman. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the reason why the report is here today, it's following consultation. If I refer you to 3.1 of the report, where we have a duty under section 349 of the Gambling Act 2005 to prepare and publish a policy statement. The current policy statement covers a 3-year period beginning on 31st of January 2022, hence the reason why it's now time to do the next policy statement, which needs to be in place and published by 31st of January 2025. The actual policy itself has to be approved at full council. However, we bring it to licensing committee, so you're aware of the policy, and then for the proposals to be put before full council when that time is right. So also one of the considerations you need to take into account is the resolution to have no casinos in the county, because that also goes to full council at the same time. So the matter was heard at committee, and it was agreed that we should go out to consultation in its current form. The consultation took place, and this report today is actually highlighting the responses to that consultation before it actually goes to full council. As a duty of the local authority, we need to take into account preventing gambling from being a source of crime and disorder, associated with crime and disorder being used to support crime, ensure that gambling is conducted in a fair and open way, and protecting children and other vulnerable persons from being harmed or exploited by gambling. So that's the ethos behind the actual policy itself and how we process applications. The Gambling Commission has informed us as well that they are looking at doing a number of changes, and that's highlighted in 3.7 of the report. However, those changes are likely to be in January 2025. But as we have a duty to ensure that our policy is amended every 3 years, the Gambling Commission has issued a statement that we should continue with the amendment to the policies and for it to be approved at full council. So following consultation, which ended on 31st of August, we had 4 responses, and that's in 3.9 of the report. The first one was from Gamble Away, which showed an interactive map of sort of problem areas. So as it says, Gamble Away is to make authorities aware of hotspots and if there's any changes to those hotspots as well. So that's actually been, the link has actually been incorporated into the policy as well, so that it assists operators of gambling premises when they start having any spikes in sort of gambling problems within the area. The second response then was from Aneurin Bevan Public Health, basically saying in our last policy we had Citizens Advice Bureau that gave free sort of gambling advice to problem gamblers. However, they've taken away that funding, but they informed us there is a further one which is more localised, which is the Addiction Recovery Agency, that not only provides help and assistance to problem gamblers but also provides training. So that was the second response, and again that is actually in the report itself. Response 3 again was from an Aaron Bevan, and it was looking at a number of elements regarding the true cost of gambling and a referral to a case study with Bangor University. So again, we've highlighted that and put that in the report itself to show why it is a necessity to have a policy, basically. You know, this is the reason why we're doing it behind it, is because of the trickle effect that not only affects sort of problem gamblers, but sort of family circumstances as well. So that is one of the recommendations. There is other preventative measures that's been put forward with sort of the likes of housing and frontline sort of staff to pick up signs when they visit venues, you know, that there is a problem within those houses, and that's something that we can pursue at a later stage with regards to training and the possibility of training going much wider than just licensing officers on gambling sort of venues and the legalities of it. So that's something we pursue. And also there was another one which within the report which has the handbook for counsellors, so they can sort of deal with gambling. And again, that's a training matter which we will carry out every year and provide that as an ongoing matter. So we haven't placed that within the policy itself because that's more of a training and a way forward that a local authority can do. Again, the response from GamCare was also looking at the hotspots. So all of these matters that was raised by consultation has been placed within the report, it's within the policy I should say itself, under 2.6, and those changes have been highlighted in red within the policy to make it easy then when we actually go to full council to look at what changes have been done, and if there's any sort of further changes with the Gambling Commission at a later stage, be it legislative, then we would look to review our policy anyway. So that's the reason why this report is here today, is for members to have a look at those changes and to give their views basically before it actually goes to full council on the 24th of October for approval of the policy for the next 3 years.
Okay, Linda Gorman, thank you for summing that up for us, for giving us a good sort of brief resume and of the responses. Are there any comments or questions that people wish to raise?
Councillor Edwards has a question here.
Sorry, yeah, Councillor Edwards, yes.
Just a few points, Chair. Thank you, Linda, for taking us through the actual policy. Some of the links on there were very useful. As a councillor anyway, and I'm sure when it goes public for the general public as well. I was wondering whether we could have some more though. I like the ones that you got in there, but I thought perhaps the relevant sections to the Gambling Act and of course the guides on the Gambling Commission website, which I found very, very useful. My second point is to do with the 2.12 casinos. I thought perhaps the wording in the draft document shouldn't be too presumptive in that decide on one full council, and perhaps we should include both sets of wording in there to present to full council. And my final point is about the, I think it's section 2.10, the adult gaming centre. Obviously all the red sections of the document are completely new. Would the red section on that be taken into account when, for instance, let's use an example, the adult gaming centre in Monmouth? For instance, it mentions in this red section that as an extra measure to prevent facilities appealing to children and young people. For example, window film, privacy screen on exit, and egress points to preclude viewing inside. Would that have applied then?
It wouldn't have applied then. We've had it is down to individual sort of premises, and we've had lengthy sort of correspondence with the Gambling Commission on a number of factors, with displaying sort of material which could be seen as being sort of encouraging children to go in. So we had, I think it was like carousel wheels and things like that was on the front, so it was made to take that down. But there's nothing that states within the legislation itself that they shouldn't be able to view in. And the reason behind that is with adult gaming, you have them in service stations, so obviously you couldn't have that blanked out, so it's across the board. So it doesn't really, all it says is that you shouldn't sort of encourage children going in. So this is something that we follow in a number of areas that we've had to deal with over the past years, that's something that we could bring in as Monmouthshire's policy. So that was written in before it actually went, it was at the last meeting, so it went out to all the licence holders, including the adult gaming centres, that this is our proposal going forward, that we would request it be blanked out if you've got a premises which is predominantly adult gaming, and like a service station which isn't predominantly adult gaming is other sort of things that it's used for, a service station. So, but with a building which is purely adult gaming, we would look to have those windows blacked out so they can't be viewed in.
Okay, thanks, Linda.
Okay.
I'm just double checking that's all, obviously because of the red section. And anybody applying for a licence, if this policy is adopted, would have to
meet that criteria, because it's Monmouthshire's policy itself.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, and thanks for the response, Linda. We go now then to Councillor Tony Easton, please.
Morning. Morning, Chair. Chris has asked the one question I was going to raise, which is about the access to casinos. 3.3. What does the first paragraph mean? Central government, on the advice of the Casino Advisory Panel, permitted 8 large and 8 small casinos, along with those who had grandfather rights. What does that mean?
Basically, when the Gambling Act came over, from the, I'm trying to think, it's not a gambling commission, but when it came over to sort of local authorities to deal with gambling, they had a number of casinos and they were different sort of sizes, and those who had currently had casinos had their grandfather rights coming over, so they had sort of first dibs in effect of having a casino, because there is restrictions in numbers that is permitted. There is, as you said, there is 8 large and 8 small casinos. So those are all used up basically, and they tend to be predominantly sort of city centre sort of based, for casino type operations. But we still have to consider, just in case they free up any casinos, any smaller ones, they may change as time goes on. We as an authority need to consider, would we think it's pertinent that we would want one, should one become available through the Gambling Commission, to have extra ones being supplied. And then the other sections in the report actually goes on to state is a number of things that you have to fight your case as an authority to allow you to have it in your area. So it's not a case of somebody wanting to apply, it'll be a case of the authority actually saying we would welcome casinos or we would not welcome casinos.
So does that mean we've got 16?
There is 16 throughout the UK, but
UK,
yes,
right? Sorry, not Monmouthshire.
Yeah, so it's not.
I was wondering.
Monmouthshire. So 16 around the UK, and they're all used up basically. Okay.
Okay, you happy with that? I don't see any other hands up. Are the committee happy now for this report to go forward to full council? Yeah, no dissent? Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, Linda. Okay, that brings us to agenda item number 5, and because this is our sensitive nature, there is now an exclusion of the press and the public, so the live stream will be taken down. So we'll just wait a few minutes and we'll wait for the people to come in. Thanks.